Shalom. 2 Samuel 6. Now David again gathered all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David rose up and went with the people who were with him from Baal Yehudah to bring up from there the ark of Elohim that is called by the name Yahweh of hosts, who dwells between the cherubim. And they placed the ark of Elohim on a new wagon and brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. And Uzzah and Ahio, sons of Abinadab, were leading the new wagon. And they brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill, with the ark of Elohim. And Ahio was walking before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel were dancing before Yahweh with all instruments of fir wood, and with lyres, and with harps, and with tambourines, and with sistrums, and with cymbals. And when they came to the threshing floor of Nakon, Uzzah reached out toward the ark of Elohim and took hold of it, for the oxen stumbled. And the wrath of Yahweh burned against Uzzah, and Elohim struck him there for the fault. And he died there by the ark of Elohim. And David was displeased because Yahweh had broken out against Uzzah. And he called the name of the place Peretz Uzzah until this day. And David was afraid of Yahweh on that day and said, "How shall the ark of Yahweh come to me?" And David would not move the ark of Yahweh with him into the city of David. But David turned it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of Yahweh remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 new moons, and Yahweh blessed Obed-Edom and all his house. And it was reported to sovereign David, saying, "Yahweh has blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that he has, because of the ark of Elohim." David then went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. And it came to be, when those bearing the ark of Yahweh had gone 6 steps, that he slaughtered bulls and fatted sheep, and David danced before Yahweh with all his might. And David was wearing a linen shoulder garment. Thus David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of Yahweh with shouting and with a voice of a shofar. And it came to be, when the ark of Yahweh came into the city of David, that Michal, daughter of Shaul, looked through a window and saw sovereign David leaping and dancing before Yahweh. And she despised him in her heart. So they brought the ark of Yahweh in and set it in its place in the midst of the tent that David had pitched for it. And David brought ascending offerings before Yahweh and peace offerings. And when David had finished bringing ascending offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Yahweh of hosts. And he apportioned to all the people, to all the crowd of Israel, from man even to woman, to each one a loaf of bread and a measure and a cake of raisins, and all the people left, each one to his house. And David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Shaul, came out to meet David and said, "How esteemed was the sovereign of Israel today, uncovering himself today in the eyes of the female servants of his servants, as one of the foolish ones shamelessly uncovers himself." So David said to Michal, "Before Yahweh, who has chosen me instead of your father and all his house, commanded me to be ruler over the people of Yahweh, over Israel, so I danced before Yahweh. And I shall be even more slight than this, and shall be humble in my own eyes. But as for the female servants of whom you have spoken, by them I am esteemed." And Michal, the daughter of Shaul, had no children to the day of her death. Chapter 7. And it came to be, when the sovereign was dwelling in his house, and Yahweh had given him rest from all his enemies all around, that the sovereign said to Nathan the prophet, "See now, I am dwelling in a house of cedar, but the ark of Elohim dwells within curtains." And Nathan said to the sovereign, "Go, do all that is in your heart, for Yahweh is with you." And it came to be that night that the word of Yahweh came to Nathan, saying, "Go and say to my servant David, thus said Yahweh, would you build a house for me to dwell in. For I have not dwelt in a house since the time that I brought the children of Israel up from Mitzrayim, even to this day, but have moved about in a tent and in a dwelling place. Wherever I have walked with all the children of Israel, I have ever spoken a word to anyone. Have I ever spoken a word to anyone from the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people Israel, saying, why have you not built me a house of cedar? And now say to my servant David, thus said Yahweh of hosts, I took you from the pasture, from following the flock, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I have been with you wherever you have gone, and cut off all your enemies from before you, and have made you a great name, like the name of the great ones who are on the earth. And I shall appoint a place for my people Israel, and shall plant them, and they shall dwell in a place of their own, and no longer be afraid, neither shall the children of wickedness oppress them again, as at the first, even from the day I commanded rulers over my people Israel, and have caused you to rest from all your enemies. And Yahweh has declared to you that he would make you a house. When your days are filled, and you rest with your fathers, I shall rise up your seed after you, who comes from your inward parts, and shall establish his reign. He does build a house for my name, and I shall establish the throne of his reign forever. I am to be his father, and he is my son. If he does perversely, I shall reprove him with the rod of men and with the blows of the sons of men. But my loving commitment does not turn aside from him, as I turned it aside from Shaul, whom I removed from before you. And your house and your reign are to be steadfast forever before you. Your throne is established forever. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so Nathan spoke to David. And sovereign David went in and sat before Yahweh, and he said, who am I, O Master Yahweh? And what is my house, that you have brought me this far? And yet this was a small matter in your eyes, O Master Yahweh. And you have also spoken of your servant's house for a great while to come. And is this the Torah of man, O Master Yahweh? And what more does David say to you? For you, Master Yahweh, know your servant. Because of your word, and according to your own heart, you have done all this greatness to make it known to your servant. You are great indeed, O Master Yahweh, for there is none like you, and there is no Elohim but you, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And who is like your people, like Israel, the one nation on earth whom Elohim went to ransom for himself as a people, to make for himself a name, and to do for you greatness and awesome deeds for your land before your people, whom you ransomed for yourself from Mitzrayim, from the nations and their mighty ones. And you have established for yourself your people Israel as your own people forever, and you, Yahweh, have become their Elohim. And now, O Yahweh, Elohim, the word which you have spoken concerning your servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as you have said. And let your name be made great forever, saying, Yahweh of hosts is the Elohim over Israel. And let the house of your servant David be established before you. For you, O Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, have revealed this to your servant, saying, I build you a house. Therefore your servant has taken heart to pray this prayer to you. And now, O Master Yahweh, you are Elohim, and your words are true, and you have spoken this goodness to your servant. And now be pleased to bless the house of your servant, to be before you forever. For you, O Master Yahweh, have spoken it. And with your blessing, let the house of your servant be blessed forever. Chapter 8. And after this it came to be that David struck the Philistines and humbled them. And David took the bridle of the mother city out of the hand of the Philistines. He also struck Moab and measured them off with a line, causing them to lie down on the earth. With 2 lines he measured off those to be put to death, and 1 complete line those to be kept alive. And the Moabites became David's servants and brought presents. David also struck Hadadezer, son of Rehob, sovereign of Soba, as he went to restore his rule at the river Euphrates. And David captured from him 1,700 horsemen and 20,000 foot soldiers. And David destroyed all the chariots, but he left of them 100 chariots. And the Arameans of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, sovereign of Zobah, and David struck 22,000 of the Arameans. Then David put watchposts in Aram of Damascus, and the Arameans became David's servants and brought presents, and Yahweh saved David wherever he went. And David took the shields of gold which were on the servants of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem, and from Betah and from Berothai, cities of Hadadezer, sovereign David took very much bronze. And Toi, sovereign of Hamath, heard that David had stricken all the army of Hadadezer. So Toi sent Joram, his son, to sovereign David to ask peace of him and bless him, because he had fought against Hadadezer and struck him. For Hadadezer had battles with Toi, and Joram brought with him objects of silver and objects of gold and objects of bronze. Sovereign David also set these apart to Yahweh, along with the silver and gold that he had set apart from the nations which he had humbled, from Aram, and from Moab, and from the children of Ammon, and from the Philistines, and from Amalek, and from the spoil of Hadadezer, son of Rehob, sovereign of Zobah. And David made a name for himself when he returned from striking 18,000 Arameans in the valley of Salt. And he put watchposts in Edom. Throughout all Edom he put watchposts, and all the Edomites became David's servants. And Yahweh saved David wherever he went. And David reigned over all Israel, and David was doing right ruling and righteousness to all his people. And Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army, and Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was recorder, and Sadok, son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, were the priests, and Sariah was the scribe. And Beniyahu, son of Yehoiada, was over both the Kerethites and the Pelethites, and David's sons were priests. And David said, "Is there anyone who is left of the house of Shaul, that I might show him loving commitment because of Jehonathan?" And the house of Shaul had a servant whose name was Ziba, and they had called him to David. And the sovereign said to him, "Are you Ziba?" And he said, "Your servant." And the sovereign said, "Is there not still someone of the house of Shaul, so that I show him the loving commitment of Elohim?" And Ziba said to the sovereign, "There is still a son of Jehonathan, lame in his feet." So the sovereign said to him, "Where is he?" And Ziba said to the sovereign, "See, he is in the house of Machir, son of Amiel, in Lo-debar." And sovereign David sent and brought him out of the house of Machir, son of Amiel, from Lo-debar. And Mephibosheth, son of Jehonathan, son of Shaul, came to David and fell on his face and did obeisance. And David said, "Mephibosheth," and he answered, "Here is your servant." David then said to him, "Do not fear, for I shall certainly show you loving commitment because of Jehonathan your father, and shall return to you all the land of Shaul your grandfather, and let you eat bread at my table continually." And he bowed himself and said, "What is your servant that you should turn to such a dead dog as I?" And the sovereign called Ziba, servant of Shaul, and said to him, "I have given to your master's son all that belonged to Shaul, and to all his house. And you and your sons and your servants shall work the land for him, and you shall bring in its yield, and your master's son shall have food to eat. But let Mephibosheth, your master's son, eat bread at my table always." And Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. And Ziba said to the sovereign, "According to all that my master the sovereign has commanded his servant, so your servant does. As for Mephibosheth," said the sovereign, "he shall eat at my table as one of the sons of the sovereign." And Mephibosheth had a son whose name was Micah, and all who dwelt in the house of Ziba were servants of Mephibosheth. And Mephibosheth was dwelling in Jerusalem, for he ate continually at the sovereign's table, and he was lame in both his feet. Chapter 10. And after it came to be that the sovereign of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son, reigned in his place, and David said, "Let me show loving commitment to Hanun, son of Nahash, as his father showed loving commitment to me." So David sent by the hand of his servants to comfort him concerning his father. And when David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon, the chiefs of the children of Ammon had said to Hanun, their master, "Is David esteeming your father in your eyes, in that he has sent comforts to you? Has David not rather sent his servants to you to search the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it?" So Hanun took David's servants, and shaved off half their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, as far as their buttocks, and sent them away. And they informed David, and he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And the sovereign said, "Wait at Jericho until your beards have grown, and then return." And when the children of Ammon saw that they had become a stench to David, the children of Ammon sent and hired Arameans of Baeth Rehob and Arameans of Soba, 20,000 foot soldiers, and the sovereign of Maacah 1,000 men, and men of Tob 12,000 men. And David heard and sent Joab and the entire army, the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put themselves in battle array at the entrance of the gate. And the Arameans of Soba and Rehob, the men of Tob and Maacah, were by themselves in the field. And Joab saw that the battle line was against him before and behind. And he chose out of all the chosen men of Israel, and put them in battle array against the Arameans. And the rest of the people he gave under the hand of Abishai his brother. And he put them in battle array against the children of Ammon. And he said, "If the Arameans are too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the children of Ammon are too strong for you, then I shall come and help you. Be strong, and let us show strength for our people and for the cities of our Elohim. And let Yahweh do what is good in his eyes." And Joab drew near, and the people with him, to battle against Aram, and they fled before him. And when the children of Ammon saw that the Arameans were fleeing, they also fled before Abishai, and went into the city. And Joab returned from the children of Ammon, and came to Jerusalem. And Aram saw that they were smitten before Israel, and they gathered together. And Hadadezer sent and brought out the Arameans who were beyond the river, and they came to Helam. And Shobach, the commander of the army of Hadadezer, went before them. And it was reported to David, and he gathered all Israel, and passed over the Jordan, and came to Helam. And Aram sent themselves in battle array against David, and they fought with him. And Aram fled before Israel, and David killed 700 charioteers and 40,000 horsemen of Aram. And he struck Shobach, the commander of their armies, who died there. And all the sovereigns and servants of Hadadezer saw that they were smitten by Israel, and made peace with Israel, and served them. And the Arameans were afraid to help the children of Ammon anymore. Shalom. Have a blessed day.